Hey guys, welcome back. So we're on episode 2 of Attack on Titan, season 4, Midnight Train. So the Marleyans realize that they can no longer just depend on the Titans' power, that other nations caught wind that the Titans are no longer invincible. Magath, he pretty much says because they were depending so much on the Titans' power that other nations were advancing while they were staying behind. And now they're kind of screwed. So Zeke is proposing that they need to go finish this Paradise mission ASAP because they need to retrieve the founding Titan. So he throws Colt under the bus, being he's not ready. I have to finish this because I only have a year left. I have to finish this because it's atoning from what my parents did. Because if you guys remember, Grisha had his whole secret little group and they got caught because of Zeke, ratting them out. But because of Zeke ratting them out, the Marleyans have a huge trust with him. So they're like, okay, let's do it. So we then get a conversation between Zeke and Colt outside. And Colt is like, Zeke, you're not like any other Titan shifter we know. It's as if you possess royal blood. Poor guy has no clue. And because you have to remember that Zeke can actually control his Titans. And his Titans don't go to sleep at night. And when injected with his spinal fluid, when he screams, he can control when they change into mindless Titans. So Zeke kind of just pushes it off with, dumb jokes. So we have Reiner waking up from a nightmare, and we have Porco there waiting for him to wake up. And as we know, Porco does not like being called by his first name. But he is a straight-up jerk to him, just making him feel worthless. You can tell that Porco has a lot of anger still towards Reiner for what had happened to his brother. His brother is Marcel. And if you guys can recall from the flashbacks, forgot what season it was, but when they were kids, when you had Ymir as a mindless Titan in the sand, and they had their little campground right above. Ymir had woken up and was about to eat Reiner, but Marcel ends up pushing Reiner out of the way, and Ymir ended up eating him, taking his jaw Titan. Ymir always had a lot of gratitude towards them for what had happened, regardless of the situation that just had happened. But because of that, that's why she went back with Reiner and left Krista and everyone, because she knew if Reiner had gone back to Marley empty-handed, they would have stripped him from his Titan. So she knew it was a debt that she had to them, and she knew she was going to give back that jaw Titan. And it pretty much was confirmed with Porco's memories. We see Ymir on that they have that ritual with the hanging like that, and yeah, he gets the jaw Titan back. So we see Ymir's fate. She was such a selfless character. I loved her so much. But we didn't get Piek there, and as we know, the cart Titan can actually be in her form for a couple months. So she's all on fours, and so that's why she has the crutches, because she's not used to walking on twos. So poor thing, she's having a hard time. But then she tells Reiner to go check on the kids because the kids are really worried on him, and so he goes and checks on them, and it's just so precious how the interaction between him and the kids, and they're so excited to see him. And it just breaks my heart because you see when the kids are all gathered together, he has a flashback of him and his warrior squad, which was Marcel, Porco, Annie, and Berto. So that little flashback when he's reaching, that was so sad. They are all heading home now back to Marley on that train, and Colt is hammered, and he is gassing up Gabby. He's just telling the other Eldian soldiers she was willing to sacrifice herself for us. Viva Gabby, yes! And she was embarrassed at first, but she was taking it all in. They were having a good old time, and oh man. And then we have in the other cart the Marleyan generals and some of the Titan shifters. And one of the generals I'm gonna go shut them up. And then we have Magath, who's just let them have their night. And that just shows already that Magath is different from the other generals. That it seemed that he does care for them in a way. So then we go back, and this part just totally brought me back to when Reiner is conflicted between his warrior and soldier persona. He was tormented back in Paradise because he was stuck to go through this mission, and then knowing how his friends really are, real, just normal, not devils. And so when Reiner's in his warrior mentality, he is scary. He is just Marley, I am here for Marley. No one will cross my path. And when he's in his soldier, mentality, he's more human. But when Falco is expressing to him his discontent with the outlook of Gabby inheriting the Armored Titan, that he doesn't want her to die, and that because he cares for her. He cares for Gabby a lot. You can already tell he only knows she's gonna live for like till 27. So then when Reiner heard that, he just switched up into like warrior mode, that you reminding Falco that why he's there and what it means to serve Marley, and to recant his discontent of, so pretty much causing Falco to embrace his fate. And then it's like he went back to soldier mode. Like he's like, okay, he kind of used Falco's words against him. It's like, all right, so if you want Gabby to be saved, you must inherit this Titan. So he's kind of manipulating him because he doesn't want Gabby to die. So he's kind of saying, you take it then. You fight for this, because if you care for Gabby. So that was just, whoa. Just seeing those personas like that was like back then when he was on Paradise. Attack on Titan has to be based off history, because when I was reading about the armbands, I was brought back. It's like the Eldians are the Jews in the World War II era in Germany. That they have to have armbands in order to determine who they are, that they're Eldians, and that if they take those armbands off, that they will be punished or killed. Even down to the star. It's not the Star of David, but it's a star. Like the Jews, the Eldians are portrayed as evil and bringing like problems to everything. Not only that, but the propaganda that's being done in Marley, that the Marleyans think that they're devils, and even down towards nationalistic ideologies. And another thing, that they're segregated into a certain part. So the Eldians live in Marley, but they're segregated in a gated part called Liberio. So Liberio is the part where Reiner back in the past was always talking my hometown. That's what he's talking about, Liberio. So it's just so sad that they're all it's kind of like in Germany, how they kind of had these ghettos and that the Jews were kept in. It's like, yeah, they're totally kept in here in this certain part. And one thing that actually made me upset that they didn't put in the anime that they have in the manga is right when, coming from war, that they're getting out of the train and they're all walking towards that area where they open the gate to go into their area. You see the Marleyan normal people out there, civilians, which, mind you, they didn't fight their war. They had the Eldians fighting for them, and the Eldians had won, so they're coming home victory. But you have all these Marleyan like citizens looking at them like, you dirty people, you devils, like just giving them these nasty looks. And it's like, you people, like, they just fought for you and won. So they didn't show that, which would have been a nice touch to show how they're treated there. And so yeah, they go back into their gated area, and then they're closed back up. And mind you, there's like, it's totally like wired up that they're only in this area. So it was really nice seeing the Eldian soldiers reunite with their families. We also got to meet the warriors' families and Reiner's mom. We also see Falco go over to a group of soldiers. Looks like they're damaged from the war. They're dealing with like PTSD. And that Marleyan general is just cruel. He knows that they're dealing with a lot of issues, and he makes the booming noise, which traumatizes them. And you see Falco just being very nice and helping one of the soldiers with the longer hair, fix the armband, and just being very compassionate towards him. Like, you don't have to fight no more. This guy with the long hair looks similar. There was a guy spying on Reiner and the kids earlier in the episode, just like a really fast. That just looks familiar. So, but yeah, it just shows you how Falco's just very kind-hearted. We then get the scene of Reiner's family and Gabby's family having dinner together, and it's shown that Gabby and Reiner are cousins. So Reiner just proves why he wants Falco to inherit the Armored Titan rather than Gabby, because he doesn't want Gabby to suffer the same fate he does. He knows what it all comes with. He is messed up. So it makes sense why he's now trying to push Falco to get that Titan. We get Gabby just telling her whole story, that she's so proud, and everybody in the family are like, yes, you're doing it for Marley. You just see how indoctrinated they all are, of how they hate the people on Paradise and think they're worst of them. You then get Gabby's dad, Reiner's uncle, asking about his past. And this is the part I remember in the manga that was just caused so much drama. People misinterpreted the scene. So Reiner's explaining his experience back in Paradise, but I don't know if he realizes, what he was saying, but of course he's like, oh, it was true hell there. It was the most horrible time ever. But what he really does is he's humanizing everybody, talking about the whole situation with Sasha and the potato, and down to like Connie not knowing whether he went to the bathroom or not, John being arrogant, and then Aaron having a grudges and anger, and then the people who followed him, which was Mikasa and Aaron. So he literally just, humanized them. And so they're kind of all looking at him like confused, and like Gabby's like, well, they're evil, right? And Reiner's mom catches on to it, and she's like, oh, of course, and starts to like spew her like indoctrination into Gabby. And yes, you're gonna get them, and they're evil, and they're gonna pay back, and all this stuff. And Reiner's like, yeah, I said too much, and she just gives Reiner this look. So then a day after, we see Gabby talking to Reiner again, and she's like, your mom says that you've changed since you've came back from that island. And he's like, oh, of course, trying to not saying the truth, but he's like, of course, I'm a grown man ever since, I was 12 years old when I was sent there, and I come back a grown man. But in reality, Reiner's got a lot of issues. You even see the whole mental torment he was going through when he was on Paradise. He even came down to personas that in order to cope, he was the warrior and, soldier persona. So just, doing all that stuff to his friends, just and losing Bertolt, it just tormented him. And on top of that, he has nobody to talk to about this stuff that he's gone through. The only people that would understand him was Annie and Bertolt, and they're gone. So he literally is just going through this horrible mental just torment by himself and nobody to talk to. So yeah, it's just, I feel so bad for Reiner. And the last thing is we have Zeke with the Titan Shifters in a meeting, and he knows the place is being wired. I think it's like in that music box, but he's talking about a Tiber family, that they need them. And it's discovered that the Tiber family is in possession of the Warhammer Titan, but they've never used it, brought it to battle. So also that this family is very influential, that they were the ones who had scared King Fritz away. And so that's why that these are the only Eldian family that everybody has a lot of love for. And you can tell Porco has distaste to this, because he's like, this family are Eldians just like us, but they're living in these mansions, living the high life, and we're here being discriminated and having to live in these concentration camps, so you can tell that they're not very highly favored with him, and I'm sure with the other people there. But so that they need Willie, who is like the head of the family, Willie Tiber, but that there's an upcoming festival that they need him in order to have this plan go. So we'll see in next episode what exactly this plan is going to be. But all right, guys, this is it. Thank you so much once again for listening to my little review, and just give me a thumbs up. And did you guys think of anything? How did you guys think of this episode? Was it confusing? It was very a lot of information, but for most part it was right on point to the manga. Just the only part, like I said, was just I wish that they had shown that the Marleyans were very like looking at them like that, Ugh. But other than that, that's it. All right, guys, you have a great night. Till next week. Bye bye.